There is one mistake that countless people make when they encounter opposition. They assume that defeating an enemy is about reacting faster, speaking louder, or proving themselves at every opportunity. But intelligence follows a different path. Truly wise people understand that the greatest advantage is not found in emotional reactions. It is found in emotional discipline. One of the greatest advantages you can have in any conflict is refusing to let your enemies control your emotions. Most people believe that an enemy's greatest weapon is their words, actions, or influence. In reality, their greatest advantage appears only when they can provoke you into acting against your own interests. Human nature is highly emotional. A single insult can occupy your thoughts for hours. An act of betrayal can tempt you to seek immediate revenge. Public criticism can create an overwhelming desire to defend yourself before thinking clearly. These reactions are understandable, but they also transfer control of your emotional state to someone else. The moment another person's behavior determines your mood, your decisions, or your peace of mind, they begin influencing your life in ways you may not even notice. Emotional discipline changes this completely. Instead of reacting automatically, you create a pause between what happens and how you respond. That pause allows reason to replace impulse. You begin asking whether responding will improve the situation or merely satisfy temporary anger. Human psychology naturally respects individuals who remain composed during difficult moments because calmness communicates confidence and self-control. A person who cannot be easily provoked becomes difficult to manipulate because their actions are guided by principles rather than by emotion. This does not mean ignoring genuine injustice or refusing to stand up for yourself when necessary. It means choosing your response with intention instead of allowing frustration to make the decision for you. Emotional control also protects your long-term goals. Many opportunities have been lost because intelligent people allowed temporary anger to damage important relationships, careers, or reputations. A calm mind sees possibilities that an emotional mind often misses. It listens more carefully, observes more accurately, and makes decisions with greater clarity. Over time, this habit strengthens every area of life. Relationships improve because unnecessary conflict becomes less frequent. Professional judgment becomes more reliable because decisions are based on careful thought rather than emotional pressure. Personal confidence grows because your peace is no longer dependent on another person's behavior. By refusing to let your enemies control your emotions, you reclaim authority over your own life. Your strength no longer comes from defeating every opponent, but from mastering your own reactions. In the end, the person who remains calm while others attempt to provoke them possesses an advantage that cannot easily be taken away because true power begins with self-control before it ever influences anyone or anything else. One of the greatest advantages in any difficult situation is the ability to observe before you react. Human nature encourages immediate action. When someone insults you, spreads false information, competes against you, or challenges your reputation, your first instinct is often to respond without hesitation. While this reaction may feel satisfying in the moment, it frequently leads to poor decisions because emotion limits your ability to see the complete picture. Observation creates distance between the event and your response, allowing you to understand what is truly happening instead of acting on assumptions. Many conflicts become worse because people react to what they believe rather than to what is actually true. A patient observer notices patterns that emotional people often miss. They pay attention to repeated behavior instead of isolated incidents, listen carefully before forming conclusions, and recognize that actions often reveal more than words. Human psychology communicates through habits, expressions, timing, and consistency. Someone may speak confidently while their behavior tells a completely different story. By slowing down and observing, you begin recognizing motives, strengths, weaknesses, and intentions that remain hidden from those who react too quickly. This habit also protects you from manipulation. People who wish to influence your behavior often rely on provoking an emotional response before you have time to think clearly. When you pause to observe, their strategy loses much of its effectiveness because your decisions are guided by understanding rather than impulse. Observation also improves judgment in relationships and professional life. Instead of making assumptions about another person's character after one conversation, you allow time to reveal consistency. Trust is built gradually because you evaluate people according to their repeated actions rather than their promises. This approach reduces unnecessary disappointment and strengthens your ability to make wise decisions. Observation does not mean hesitation caused by fear. It means thoughtful awareness before taking meaningful action. Once you understand the situation clearly, your response becomes more effective because it is based on facts instead of emotion. Over time, this habit strengthens emotional discipline, improves decision making, and develops quiet confidence. People begin to notice that you are not easily drawn into confusion or conflict because you choose understanding before reaction. By observing before you react, you protect your peace, avoid unnecessary mistakes, and gain a clearer understanding of both people and situations, allowing wisdom rather than emotion to guide your choices and giving you an enduring advantage that comes from patience, clarity, and deliberate action instead of impulsive response. Conflict is often viewed as something that should be avoided at all costs, yet some of life's most valuable lessons emerge from moments of opposition. The difference lies not in the conflict itself, but in the way you choose to respond to it. Many people become consumed by resentment, spending their energy proving someone wrong or seeking revenge for every perceived injustice. While this reaction is understandable, it rarely creates lasting progress. Human nature tends to focus on the pain caused by opposition rather than the opportunity hidden within it. Smart individuals recognize that every challenge contains information. Criticism may expose a weakness that needs improvement. Competition may reveal skills that require further development. Betrayal may teach the importance of stronger boundaries and wiser judgment. Instead of allowing conflict to define their future, they use it as motivation to become more capable, disciplined, and emotionally resilient. This mindset transforms obstacles into valuable teachers rather than permanent burdens. Human psychology grows stronger when it learns to adapt. Every difficult experience develops patience, strengthens emotional control, and increases the ability to make thoughtful decisions under pressure. Rather than asking why a challenge happened, successful people ask what they can learn from it. This simple change in perspective shifts attention away from blame and towards personal growth. Conflict also reveals character. It exposes how you behave when circumstances become uncomfortable. Do you react impulsively? Or do you remain calm? Do you focus on revenge? Or do you focus on improvement? These moments shape your reputation far more than periods of comfort. Relationships benefit from this wisdom as well, because disagreements become opportunities to improve communication rather than excuses to create deeper division. Professionally, setbacks encourage innovation and persistence instead of surrender. Personally, every obstacle overcome increases confidence because it proves that your strength is greater than your circumstances. Over time, you begin to see conflict differently. It no longer appears only as an interruption to your progress, but as part of the process that develops wisdom and resilience. By choosing growth instead of resentment, you refuse to let opposition define your identity. You become stronger through every challenge because each difficult experience adds greater understanding, patience, and discipline to your character. In the end, the smartest people are not those who never face enemies or conflict, but those who transform every obstacle into an opportunity to become wiser, more capable, and better prepared for whatever life places before them. Your reputation is one of the few possessions that follows you into every room before you even speak. Long before people know your personality, they often know your reputation. And that reputation is built not by isolated moments, but by the consistent pattern of your actions. Many people make the mistake of trying to defend their image through arguments, emotional reactions, or endless explanations whenever they are criticized. While the desire to protect your name is understandable, words alone rarely change deeply held opinions. Human nature pays far more attention to repeated behavior than to temporary promises. A person who consistently acts with honesty, reliability, and self-control gradually builds a reputation that becomes stronger than rumors or accusations. Character is revealed over time, not in a single conversation. This is why protecting your reputation begins with protecting your habits. Every commitment you honor, every responsibility you fulfill, and every difficult situation you handle with integrity strengthens the way people perceive you. There will always be individuals who misunderstand your intentions or attempt to question your motives. Trying to convince everyone is an impossible task that drains valuable time and emotional energy. Instead of becoming trapped in endless defense, continue allowing your actions to provide the evidence of your character. Human psychology naturally trusts consistency because predictable behavior creates confidence. When people repeatedly experience the same honesty, discipline, and respect from you, they become less influenced by temporary criticism or gossip. Your behavior quietly disproves false impressions without requiring constant explanation. This principle also applies during moments of conflict. It is easy to maintain good character when everything is going well, but true integrity becomes visible when you face disappointment, pressure, or unfair treatment. Remaining respectful without becoming weak, standing firm without becoming arrogant, and acting wisely without seeking revenge all strengthen your reputation in ways that emotional reactions never could. Over time, people begin recognizing that your values remain steady regardless of changing circumstances. This consistency creates lasting credibility because your words and actions remain aligned. Relationships improve because trust becomes the foundation instead of uncertainty. Professional opportunities also grow because reliability is one of the qualities people value most. By protecting your reputation through consistent character rather than through constant self-defense, you create a legacy built on integrity, discipline, and dependability. In the end, your greatest defense is not the argument you make, but the life you consistently live, because lasting respect is earned through actions repeated faithfully long after temporary opinions have disappeared. Choosing your battles with wisdom rather than pride is one of the clearest signs of emotional intelligence and genuine strength. Many people believe they must respond to every insult, correct every misunderstanding, and prove themselves in every disagreement. Pride convinces them that walking away is the same as losing, yet wisdom understands that not every conflict deserves your attention. Human nature often reacts emotionally before thinking rationally. A careless remark can provoke unnecessary anger. A minor disagreement can become a lasting argument, and a small offense can consume days of valuable time and energy. Smart people recognize that every battle carries a cost. Even if you win the argument, you may lose your peace, your focus, or an opportunity that mattered far more than proving a point. Before reacting, they ask whether the conflict will improve their life, protect an important principle, or simply satisfy their ego. This simple question changes the way they approach opposition. They understand that some situations require courage and direct action, especially when justice, personal boundaries, or essential values are at stake. However, many other conflicts exist only because someone wants attention, validation, or an emotional reaction. Refusing to participate in these situations is not weakness. It is disciplined self-control. Human psychology naturally respects individuals who remain focused on their long-term purpose instead of becoming distracted by every temporary challenge. They do not waste emotional energy competing in arguments that produce no meaningful outcome. Instead, they invest their attention in learning, improving, and achieving goals that genuinely matter. This habit also protects relationships because unnecessary disputes become less frequent, allowing communication to remain respectful and constructive. Professionally, choosing battles wisely preserves credibility because people recognize someone who acts thoughtfully instead of impulsively. Personally, it creates emotional stability because your peace is no longer dependent upon winning every disagreement. Over time, this approach strengthens your confidence because your identity is no longer tied to the need to always be right. You become comfortable allowing insignificant issues to pass while reserving your strength for moments that truly deserve your commitment. By allowing wisdom rather than pride to determine which battles you fight, you conserve your energy, sharpen your judgment, and protect your inner peace. Your decisions become more deliberate, your relationships become healthier, and your character grows stronger because you understand that true victory is not found in defeating every opponent, but in knowing which conflicts are worthy of your time, your principles, and your effort. Allowing your success to become your strongest response is one of the most effective ways to deal with opposition because it shifts your attention away from revenge and towards personal growth. Many people become so consumed by proving their critics wrong that they unknowingly allow those critics to control their lives. Every decision becomes a reaction to someone else's behavior instead of an expression of their own purpose. Human nature often seeks immediate satisfaction. When someone doubts your abilities or questions your character, the instinct is to argue, defend yourself, or seek recognition as quickly as possible. While these reactions may provide temporary relief, they rarely create lasting results. Genuine success, however, speaks with a quiet authority that arguments cannot match. It is built through consistent effort, disciplined habits, and the willingness to continue improving regardless of who is watching. Every skill you develop, every challenge you overcome, and every meaningful goal you accomplish becomes evidence of your character. Human psychology naturally respects visible achievement supported by integrity because actions carry greater weight than promises. Instead of spending your energy trying to convince others of your worth, you allow your work to demonstrate it over time. This mindset also protects your emotional well-being because your motivation no longer depends on proving someone else wrong. Your focus returns to becoming wiser, stronger, and more capable for your own growth rather than for someone else's approval. Relationships benefit from this perspective as well because you stop feeding unnecessary conflict and begin investing more attention in people who encourage your development. Professionally, success earned through discipline creates credibility that emotional arguments can never achieve. Personally, it strengthens confidence because every accomplishment reminds you that progress comes from consistent action instead of constant comparison. There will always be people who misunderstand your intentions or refuse to recognize your efforts. Trying to change every opinion is impossible. What remains completely within your control is the quality of your daily actions. Over time, your reputation becomes shaped by your work, your discipline, and your reliability rather than by temporary criticism. By choosing success as your strongest response, you transform negative experiences into motivation for improvement instead of fuel for resentment. Your energy becomes invested in building a meaningful life instead of fighting unnecessary battles. In the end, the greatest answer to doubt is not louder words, but a life that quietly reflects perseverance, integrity, continuous learning, and purposeful action, proving through consistent achievement that your future is determined by your character rather than by the opinions of those who once stood against you.